Why is it such a struggle for anyone to turn on the TV, open the newspaper, get online, and see a woman, hear a woman, read a woman's story that is news, that is factual, that is educational? Why is that harder than it is to turn on the TV and see women sitting around a table discussing entertainment, or turning on the internet and seeing blogs on how to put on makeup? Why is that more prevalent than a woman giving the news? Why is our greatest means of communication and influence media? Why is that lacking a whole gender, basically? Why can't we be represented in the way that men are? My answer, pretty simple, really. I think that it comes down to our patriarch society. It's it's not going to allow a woman the power that comes along with having a voice. Our male dominated society is still going strong today. It is continuing to assert itself. And with that, there's no room to let a woman come in and be known. I mean, obviously, as women, we have gained a lot of rights, and I think that's awesome. And I'm so proud of where we are and what we've come from. But at the same time, there's no way I'm content with where I sit and how I see my gender being viewed and discriminated against. And there's no way that I want to pass this on to my daughter. I want her to have so much more. And so by the time I leave this earth, hopefully there will be more. Um, Basically, men continue to be the face of our nation, from the president, obviously, to behind the news desk. They are what is seen of us. They are the voice that is heard, representing all of us. Um, I mean, they're overwhelmingly represented. With Little FaceTime for Women, it sends a clear message to everybody. There's a position of power to be had, and that's already had by men. With information, obviously, is power. That's been said many times and been proven. So therefore, to give a woman a voice gives her power. And I don't think that our society is ready for that. Maybe, hopefully, I'm jumping to conclusions, but as I'll discuss further in this video, from the research I did, it doesn't seem like I am. It seems pretty cut and dry as to the motives behind the lack of women present in media. By all accounts, journalism programs are pretty equal in genders, which leads me to believe then that they should equally be graduating and equally be joining the workforce and looking for jobs. So it stands to reason there should be equal representation, but clearly, as I've mentioned, there's not. And one reason for this is that women usually are given jobs to do research, or again, to do the fluff pieces, to talk about squirrels in bathing suits and how to put on eyeliner. Both of those are awesome stories, just a man could report on that as well. So from the research I did, from news, from nightly news to print to internet to news wires in 2013, men made up over 60% of the work done. 60% for a gender that makes up only 50%. Sadly, but not surprising, the little bit of work that women did get was again on the fluffy side. It was more lifestyle, culture, health, showing that even when women are allowed to participate in media, it is only in a way that is non-threatening to our male counterparts, and a way that doesn't um, take away any power that men get from being the voice and face of our nation. So while men are anchoring our news and writing our articles and deciding what is worth sharing, women are resigned to do the legwork for those stories and not actually get to impart much of their voice in that. It really should come as no surprise, and I hope it doesn't to anybody, that when a woman's voice is missing from media, the stories of women are equally missing. In 2005, a study was done, and it showed that only 21% of the stories for that year had a female subject in it. So 21% was done about a gender that makes up 50% of the world. I find it really hard to believe, and a bit of a slap in the face to say that there wasn't any way, any story that could at least bump us up to a quarter. We can't, we can't make up a quarter of stories. There's more badass women out there than 21%. And even when women do have a voice, even when women are out there and reporting and doing hard-hitting journalism, or just any journalism, really, at this point, even when they're out there doing that, that's not what is talked about. It's not usually talked about the woman that did an amazing story, that cracked open a case, or that exposed some corruption. It's about what she's wearing, or does she look pregnant, or some demeaning way of trivializing what was done. So until we have an equal voice, we don't have equal say in what we hear. So unless something changes, the stories aren't going to change. The topics aren't going to change. The face isn't going to change. So why is it so difficult to find women represented in media? Why can you not turn on a TV, open a magazine, read a newspaper, turn on a computer, and see a woman? Why is it that our greatest means of communication and influence is nearly lacking a whole gender? My answer is pretty simple. I feel that it comes down to our patriarch society. I feel that giving a voice to women equates to giving power to women, and our male-dominated society is not ready to do that. Men are overwhelmingly represented in our nation, from president to sitting behind a news desk. Their voice, their face, and their narrative is supposed to represent all of us. With little FaceTime for Women, I think it sends a really clear message that positions of power are no place for us. With information comes power. And so to have a woman having knowledge and having information, that is giving her way too much power. And again, our society is not ready to do that. There's a chance that maybe there's other reasons to why women are underrepresented in media, but as I researched this, it really seemed unlikely. From all accounts, it's pretty 50-50 who goes to journalism school. So genders are pretty equally represented, which stands to reason then that the genders should be equal in graduating and then equal in going out and looking for a job. So then why is it that in 2013 men did 60% of all the reporting of all media landscape? I mean, that's TV, that's print, that's news wires, that's everything. Men made up 60% of that reporting. So where were the women in this? Well, a lot of women were doing the research for those pieces, which doesn't really allow much place to put your own voice. You're kind of doing somebody else's job at that point and helping somebody else write a story. So the editing can take out any personality that you wanted to put into it. The times that women did get to report, a lot of times that was just more fluff pieces. There was a lot of lifestyle stuff, culture, beauty and health, the random squirrel in a bathing suit story. And even those stories, they weren't, for lack of a better word, taken seriously. Which a squirrel in a bathing suit's hard to take serious, but the woman should be taken serious, and they aren't. It is more the case that what the woman was wearing, maybe what she does in her private life, or something just random. Is she pregnant? Those were the things that were talked about when talking about these women in media. It wasn't them or the story that they had. It was them on a personal level. So even when women are allowed to participate in media, it's only done in a way that is non-threatening to our male counterparts, that in no way is giving us a true voice and identity in our story. So it should really come as no surprise that with women not really represented in media, we aren't represented in the stories either. In 2005, women as the subject of a story only accounted for 21%. So 21% made up 50% of our population. I mean, there's a hell of a lot more badass women out there than 21%. We are half of this world. There has to be more than 21% of the stories that could have been told. There's no way that I will accept that this doesn't directly correlate to the fact that there's a lack of women in media. There's an overwhelming need for me personally, and I think for a lot of women, hopefully, to identify and see yourself in this world, in this nation, in this city. I need to feel that there is somebody out there that I can relate to, and that is talking on my behalf or standing up for something that is a part of me. And I don't think that could ever happen as long as men are dominating this field. So hopefully I've kind of helped shed light on an issue that I feel is relevant and important. And hopefully from this point on, it's kind of spurred your interest in it as well. And that you can go ahead and kind of do some more research and maybe help to make a change. Thanks.